Where's he at? Where you go? Mr. Michael Maher, how are you?
I'm doing fantastic. How are you today?
Good, man. I'm actually gonna make you host.
You don't even need to do that if you don't want
Oh,
to.
you sure you don't need to share screen, or you can share screen anyways? Awesome, awesome,
I'm not even going to share my screen. We're going to
all
make
right,
we're going to make it a conversation.
awesome. I love that. I love that. Well, hey, for everybody who's here and people who are still coming in, I don't think I need to introduce Mr. Michael Maher. I will say one thing. Uh, 10 years ago, when I started real estate, a good friend of mine named Tiffany handed me this book, and I'd never read a book before this book. That's a true story. I read Kidnapping Kevin Kowalski when I was about 6 years old. And after that, this is the second book I ever read in my entire life. And this made a huge, huge, huge impact on me. And it's the reason why 10 years later, my business has been completely no expenses, no ads, no marketing paid. It's all been by referrals. And it was this book. And we are with the author here today. So, Michael, I'll hand it over to you. I'll let you introduce yourself and tell us, where we're going today with this conversation.
All
Super
right,
excited.
I've got some questions for you real quick. All right. So
Yes.
first of all, what is Tiffany's last name who gave you the book? Do you remember?
Scott?
What is it?
Scott. I think her last name is
SCOT.
Scott.
Do you have her contact information or can you get me that contact information? What I'd like to do is
Probably.
just reach out to her and say thank you so much for getting the book to you and spreading the word about the book and just give her a bunch of appreciation because without her, this wouldn't have happened today, right?
She actually let me borrow it, so don't tell her I still have it.
Oh no,
Um,
I won't. I'll just tell her that it's lost. But bottom line is, it's all
yeah,
good. You know what I'll do? I'll just send her a brand new edition signed copy. How's that sound?
that is
And it'll be a gift from you.
I love that. There you go. That's
All
amazing.
right. And that's our lesson for today, guys. Have a great day. You're
All
awesome.
right, bye.
Yeah. Um, and then the other question is, all right, what's a couple? All right, so why did you end up finishing this book? It was the second book you've ever read, and compared to the other one, I know this one is a shambles. But what did you get out of the book? Like, what did you get? Just like feel,
So,
think, that kind of thing.
yeah, so I started at Keller Williams, and one of the first things you learn at Keller Williams is to talk to your sphere and to do cold calls, and I didn't have a sphere, and I wasn't gonna make cold calls because I wasn't sure. So first, this book was easy to read because it's a story. It's not just an instruction, telling you to do this, do this, do this, do that, like every other business book. First, it was a story, so it was easy to follow. And second, it just made sense, get to know people, build a relationship. Start with a relationship instead of starting with business or leads or starting with the money. So I think it just made sense to me. Like, okay, I just got to talk to people. Like you basically told me in the book, just talk to people, just
Mhm.
meet people. So I think that's why I finished the book and I almost finished it again. I'm about 20 pages from finishing it again. So,
Nice. I noticed there was a post-it note in there. Is that your bookmark, or did you actually bookmark a specific strategy?
oh, that's where the last time I started reading it, that's where I left off.
Okay.
But this thing is scratched and marked and all kinds of everywhere. My wife has read it. She's here, right? So she's read it. She hates business books, by the way. This is the only book she's been able to follow without falling asleep because it's a story.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's interesting you say that because I'm currently writing another couple of books and I'm in the debate of do I just make it like to the point and doable, or do I once again make it a creative story? And it's that age old debate from an author's perspective of, how do I really want to make it? But I had to make 7L a love story. I had to make it a love story because I am in love with real estate and I am in love. Here's the thing, I'm an introvert. If it wasn't for real estate, the amount of awesome people I wouldn't have met is astronomical. Real estate has forced me to meet awesome people, and my life is better because of that. And that's the truth. So, it's kind of an introvert's guide to networking and referrals. And it's been a lot of fun to put out there. And It's if you haven't gotten it, you can get it at the bookonreferrals.com, which sends you to Amazon, which gets me $1 per book. So thank you for that. I'll donate that to a good cause. I promise you. Um, the the biggest thing is I don't know if you even care about who I am, honestly. I mean, it's like I'm here to give value, and I have a lot of value I can give in the referral game. If you're going to ask me about bowling, I can't give you any value. I can almost guarantee I am the worst bowler on this call. Even if you've never bowled before, you could bowl better than me because I think I'm a good bowler, and they're the worst, right? So I think the biggest thing is just to give you a little bit of background on why the book was written, how we developed it, and then let's go into strategies and how you can get more referrals. I think that's why you're here is to really see if you can take one little strategy and get referrals, and we've discovered that you can. So I was in real estate. I wasn't going to do cold calls. I wasn't going to do door knocking. Door knocking was just cold calling in person. So it was even worse than cold calling.
Right.
So, um, and I wasn't going to spam a bunch of people, right? At that point, canned spam was a big thing, and people just were looking at their email differently, and they were looking to really, you know, turn people in for spam. So I didn't want to email a bunch of people and try to be a spammer or a solicitor or a criminal. So what happened is I started building this business on relationships. And the very first client I have, and I want you to imagine your first client. Some of you are way past your first client. I was with my first client and I literally was praying they would not want to make an offer. Think about that for a second. If they wanted to make an offer, it would be disclosed that I'm a fraud because I didn't know how to write up a contract. I didn't know how to write up an offer. I didn't have a buyer's agreement with there was no paperwork between us. They thought I was this awesome guy that played on their softball team. That was it. And I'm an awesome softball player. I was a great baseball player, continue to play baseball to this day. And so they had this image of me as a baseball player, and it was about to be shattered because they wanted to make an offer. And so here's what happened. True story. We went through houses. I kept talking them out of the house. No, you don't want this one. No, it's in a wrong neighborhood. I don't, you know. So we went to a new home construction neighborhood. We went through and I mean, their eyes were this big around. They were smelling new wood, you know what I mean? Like the new construction world. And so we went through and like this was it. Like Vanessa, my it was Davey and Vanessa. Vanessa, my client, was literally like already putting her furniture in one of the houses. And I'm like, this is it. Michael Maher, the fraud, is about to be revealed. So we go up and we go to the front model home, and so like we're getting it ready, and the lady goes, "Well, how did you like it?" And Vanessa goes, "I loved it." Right? Totally lost any negotiation power.
Right.
And the lady at the office then goes, "So you want me to write it up?" And I go, "Yes, I do. You write that up, and I want you to know I'm going to read every paragraph, and you make sure every single part of that contract is right. You write that up, and then we'll look at it." That's awesome. So she wrote it up. I didn't even write my first contract, people. She wrote it up. We reviewed it. I reviewed it with my broker. Everything was great. And we signed it, and my first client was under wraps. So here's the thing. So we got into the home 60 days later. They had bought a spec home. And here's the thing. They were moving into the house, and I and Davey played softball together. Well, for those of you that don't know, softball is code word for drinking beer with your buddies. A lot of times we don't even play softball. We just go meet and drink somewhere. But here's the thing. I'm just kidding about that, kind of. But here's the thing. We went to, so what do we like to do? We like to party. So I did a housewarming party for Davey and Vanessa. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll just bottom line it. It was awesome. I got 11 referrals. at my very first housewarming party. 11 referrals. And if I had run the system that we had later and now, I would have probably got 25 referrals at that one event. So I got 11 referrals, which made me really busy instantly. And I probably dropped the ball on some of those, to be totally honest with you. But here's the thing, Vanessa's mom and dad were at the party. Vanessa's mom and dad had a really nice house. So they sold their $400,000 house and bought a $600,000 house. So $1 million of clients from that within 60 days. And once they bought, what did I have to do? I threw a housewarming party for them. Now, some of the people at the first party were at the second party. And the second party were more affluent and we're off and running. I got 7 referrals at the second party, and we've got a lot of people to follow up with, and we're rolling. So then it just kind of exploded from there. I did 37 transactions, and I did 87 my second year. I did 187 my third year, which was tops in Kansas City, and then I did 210 and then 255 my first 5 years. So it was, and all by referral. So what happened is Howard Brinton interviewed me for Star Power Star, which no longer exists, but it was the preeminent. It was, if you took Keller Williams, EXP, Remax, Anywhere, all those companies' events and rolled them together, that was how big and awesome the Star Power events were. I mean, they were monolithic. And he interviewed me for his list, which had 100,000 agents on it. Well, he introduced me to the world as North America's most preferred real estate agent, actually America's most preferred real estate agent. And my phone blew up, my email blew up. Everybody wanted to find out what I was doing. So I would send them whatever they asked about. If they asked about the housewarming parties, I'd send them housewarming party stuff. If they asked about the networking stack, I would send them info. If they were asking about the home court advantage, I would send them info. But I knew I was just giving them a piece of the answer, so I had to write a book. Well, you guys probably know a lot of people who should write a book and haven't written a book. I was that guy for 2 or 3 years, and then I died. I had knee surgery from all the baseball I'd been playing, and a couple of days after the knee surgery, I had a pain in my chest. I went to the hospital, and the nurse dislodged 7 blood clots into my system. 3 went into each lung, and 1 went through my heart and killed me. Well, if you're going to die, do it at the hospital because they might have a chance to revive you. The head nurse revived me, and I went down. They put in a temporary pacemaker. No longer have that in me. And then in ICU that night in Olathe Medical Center, of all places, I outlined the 7 levels of communication pyramid that you literally see in the book. And 18 months later, the book came out. It became a bestseller in 7 days. And it's the #1 book in real estate sales all time in the real estate sales category. MREA is the #1 book in real estate category. And 7L is the #1 in the real estate sales category of all time. And it's changed a lot of lives, but most of all, it's changed my life. So that's essentially how the book came about. And if I wouldn't have had the blood clots and the death issue, I would have never written the book. But I just thought at that time, I have a system in place that's amazing, and it almost died with me. So I needed to write it. I needed to get it out.
Michael,
So
that's amazing. And obviously nobody's glad that you went through that, but we're definitely glad that the book came out. Something so good and amazing came out of a negative situation. Can we dive into that 7 level, the pyramid itself, like
yeah,
how that came about and why the top 3 are so important? What is it, the
yeah,
influential zone?
yeah. So the bottom 3 levels are the informational zone. So you've got advertising, and the problem with advertising is super expensive. And there's even a quote out there from the big companies that I don't know where any of the money I spend in advertising goes, basically, and I don't know which 50% works, but I still do it, basically, right? And it's like they don't know what works even in advertising to this day, and they're spending millions on advertising. So what are we supposed to do as a small company? How are we supposed to stand out as a solopreneur or an individual agent in a world with people who are just spending money at $1 million a month, right? So advertising is very expensive, very hard to stand out, and and what do they say? You've got to have frequency and consistency. Well, who says that? The advertisers, the people that are paying the money. Why do they say that? Because they don't have any clue if it works or not, but they just want your money. So you've got to have frequency and consistency, right? So the bottom line is that's a tough way to go. Then the next level above that is going to be your direct mail, right? And direct mail, once again, very expensive, very low return. The return on direct mail at this point is less than 0.05%. And it's going down because of the junk mail and the Generation X and Z who absolutely hate junk mail. In fact, they will boycott you. They used to just ignore it or throw it away. Now they'll go and tell all their friends about it or post it on their HOA. Look at this crappy direct mail piece. They're killing trees, and we hate them. So, all right. So, but direct mail can be effective. And I'm going to share with you in a little bit the most effective direct mail piece you could ever send, if you want me to.
Yes, please.
And then electronic communication, email, that kind of thing is the next level above. And the bottom line there is, I mean, do you guys read all your email? And the fact of the matter is how much of it are you deleting and don't even read versus how much of it do you really read? And we've done this with clients where we don't read email. Like I don't read my email, and none of my coaching clients read their email by the time we're done with them. What we do is we delegate it, right? So they have an assistant who reads their email. And here's what's amazing. Out of 100 emails, 100, how many of them are personal and related to you, do you think? Out of 100 emails that you get, what percentage or how many of those do you think are actually personal and directly related to you? On average, this is what we found. I'm going to have you guess. What do
Like
you think?
not business?
It's literally, well, it could be business, right? But it's personal. Like this is, you're
Maybe
getting
one.
you're getting something from a client, and it's worth reading. It's extremely personal to you. That counts as a good email. How many good emails are we getting out of 100?
Maybe a quarter of a percent. Not even one.
Yeah, so it's five. 5 out of 10 emails are personalized, customized. So that means for how much time are you wasting? 95% of your time in email is wasted. 95% of your time in email is wasted. So having somebody else deal with your email is maybe one of the biggest things that you can do. And you know what? You train them. You train them. You just teach them early on what's important, what's not, and they do the rest. And me and Tracy, who is my exec, we went through 56,418 emails, right? And
Wow.
then she had it. She's good. She right now she reads all my emails. She goes through it, and it's amazing. Even with all we do, how few are important. So, the bottom line is your clients very rarely get an email. But I'm going to share with you the most important email you could send if you want me to do that. Right
Please.
now, handwritten notes. Handwritten notes are the buffer zone. Handwritten notes are great in prospecting, but they're even better in follow up. So I will tell you that the handwritten note is probably the most underutilized, most powerful weapon in marketing. It stands out. There is a handwritten note on my refrigerator that has been there for years. Think about that. What marketing piece comes out of your office that people will put on their refrigerator forever? Or I mean, how many of you have ever received a handwritten note? Right? So for those that didn't raise their hand, we got to get a handwritten note out to them, right? But it's like if you've ever received a handwritten note, how do you feel? Like how's it go? Like do you open it or do you just throw it away? Do you never throw it away? I don't throw away thank you notes. I have them all. Every one I've ever been sent, I keep. I don't know why. I guess when I'm in a bad moment, I'm going to go read all these emails or all these. I definitely won't go read the emails. I'll go read the handwritten notes, right? So handwritten notes are very powerful. Very powerful. It's just one of those where, I mean, it's the most powerful marketing piece that leaves your office on a daily basis. That's a handwritten note because it gets opened, it gets read, it gets felt, which is the most important. What do we want to do with business? Is we want to evoke emotion, right? We want to evoke emotion in the people around us, and handwritten notes do it better than anything. And you're like, oh, but you can't blast them. You know what? You could sit down in 10 minutes today and write 4 or 5 notes, right?
And Michael, it's important. Sorry to interrupt you. It's important here to know that this it's not just according to the book, right? In the story of Rick Masters, which is the character in the book. It's important that it's not just random. It's like, oh, I just woke up one day. Oh, I should just write a letter to Michael today. Or it's just this is literally this handwriting notes, this meetings, one-on-ones, these getting together with people, the events and the seminars. This is the business plan. This isn't
Yeah.
just extra stuff you do. It's literally building a business around handwritten notes, events, and one-on-ones.
That is a great point. That it is, right? Regularly, I mean, if you want frequency and consistency, don't make it advertising, make it handwritten notes, right? Do it every day, do 2 or 3 a day, and guess what? And if you do it with the 7 steps to a power note, people will call you and they will engage with you. And it's the best passive way to create conversations if you run it the power note way, right? In the power note, the big part is having a PS that's a call to action, or using, here it is, or using a post-it note, right? Use a one of the best things you do, write a handwritten note and then put a post-it note over what you wrote, and the post-it note says, "Hey, give me a call when you get this," or "Hey, shoot me a text when you get this," and then put your number. They'll text you. Trust me. Here's the deal. Are they feeling good? They just got your note, right? So they're feeling good when they get it, and then they're going to text you. And one of the best things you can say is, "Hey, had an idea. Give me a text when you get this." Or you could say, "Hey, make sure you got this. We've had mail issues." And by the way, USPS has had issues. So you're being honest there. And it is one of those where very, very powerful call to action. And when they text you or when they call you, I'm going to give you exactly what to say that would be ideal. Would that be okay? I'll do that in a second. All right. So the last 3 levels are the influential zone, which is phone calls. We all know the importance of phone calls. And I will tell you that even in the Gen Z, Gen X, Gen Y, even this millennial group, listen, phone calls are still powerful because you can listen, because you can get feedback, because you can do more in less time. Honestly, I have a millennial client, and I literally finally texted him and I said, "Hey, listen, we could cover this in 47 text messages, or we could cover it in a 4 or 5 minute phone call. What do you want to do?"
I like that.
Right? And we picked up the phone, we handled it, we got it knocked out, and it was a lot easier. I honestly thought he might choose the 47 text messages. I really did. But it is what it is.
It's also
So
hard to assess somebody's dispersonality over text.
yeah,
So
it
a
really
phone call
is.
just makes it easier.
Yeah, you can ask one question, right? The magic question, and find out what disc they are. And then events and seminars are critical. In fact, I'm going to talk a little bit more about that. That's an entire pillar of our business is events and seminars and parties. And then the top one is one-on-one meetings. We all know that in a one-on-one situation, people will disclose to us and have an entirely different conversation than if there was just one more person at the booth, right? So one-on-ones are so powerful. Why do we do all of our sales one-to-one? Why do we do it one-to-one couple, right? It's because it's private, it's confidential, it's personal, it's powerful, and you're more likely to get a yes. And here's the thing: there's a comfort to a one-to-one meeting. Now, I'm not here to tell you that you need to do 30 one-to-ones a month. We do have that challenge in our Referral Mastery Academy, but I am saying that you probably need to do 2 or 3 a week, or do 8 and do 4 one week and 4 2 weeks later. So every 2 weeks you could, but you need to be doing 6 to 10 one-to-ones. And I mean business one-to-ones. I don't mean hanging out with your girls, right? I don't mean hanging out with the boy and just like, you're both in sweats and drinking beer. That doesn't count. Well, it could count. But the bottom line is that, one-to-ones are critical to this. The top three levels are where you should be spending 60 to 80% of your time on a daily basis. That's phone calls, hosting events, planning events, or talking about events, and one to one meetings. So now, if you were looking at a time block, so where's most of that time going to be spent? Most of it's going to be spent on the phone, right? If you really think about it. And I'm going to tell you exactly what to say on the phone to get referrals here in a second. So that's the influential zone at the top, those three levels. If you want someone to buy or say yes, it's phone, event, or one to one, right? You're not going to get a yes through a text message. You're not going to get a yes through email. Selling through email is almost, in fact, the wrong email could take a relationship from a 5 to a 1 instead of taking them from a 5 to a 6. And I will tell you, the right phone call can take a 5 to a 10. And a 10 is a referral source. A 10 is an ambassador. So it just, there's really, the impact as you go up is not linear. The impact as you go up is exponential. One to ones are crazy powerful for referrals and taking relationships to referrals. The subtitle of 7L, by the way, is Go from Relationships to Referrals. Everyone has relationships. Everybody, they say on stage, it's all about relationships. Well, and you're sitting there, you're going, I have a lot of relationships, but I'm not getting any business from them.
Right.
Well, that's what 7L does. It takes all of our relationships and we go from having relationships to actually getting referrals. And there is stuff to do to make that level up. So that's what it's all about.
Love it. Michael, so let's say somebody, there's an agent here who is like Don from the book, and it's all billboards and it's all buses. How do you start, other than reading the book, because everybody here is going to order the book. If they don't have a copy, they're going to order it today. But other than starting with reading the book, what are the first steps to switching that mindset to referrals? You coach a lot of people. What's the first step?
Yeah. Well, the first step is, all right, what are you doing when somebody replies to the billboard? What are you doing when they reply to the advertisement, right? What are you doing with them? Like you have generated leads from this, yes, and usually they say yes. So I go, what have you done to build those relationships with the leads you already have? And they go, nothing usually, right? They're a churn and burn operation, which is the fastest way to burnout, right? It's churn to burn, and now it's your turn to burn out. So I just came up with that. Is this recorded? Can you send me that? That was really good. So, but it is one of those where, all right, so let's say they've generated 1,000 leads over time through internet, Google, Facebook advertising, and all the advertisements they got. They have somewhat of a relationship of people who've said yes at one point. So then I'm going to teach them to have an event. We're going to have an event for those people, right? And we're going to invite all those people to an event. It's going to be what I call like a come and get it event. So we just did this National Donut Day. I don't know if you guys know it, but January 6th was or June 6th was National Donut Day. Well, how many of you knew that? Anybody know that? There you go. That's my show for the day. You're good. You learned two things today.
Next year.
So the thing about National Donut Day, you can celebrate any day. I'm just throwing that out there. Krispy Kreme is a client of mine, so please choose Krispy Kreme. But here's the thing: did you know that on National Donut Day they will give you an equal amount of donuts to whatever you buy? So if you buy a dozen donuts, they'll give you actually 13 more, right? So here's the thing: James Nellis, you guys might know James. James is a rock star in DC. He sent out 5,000 invitations. He called 5,000 internet leads. These are internet leads. And James does get referrals, but most of his is advertising. So 5,000 invites through email. He invited his Facebook friends. He invited 5,000 people 5 different times. That's 25,000 touches through bulk and mass email. Right. And so how many people do you think took him up on an offer to come by one of 5 donut shops? He went to one and 4 of his teammates went to other donut. They could go to any one of these 5 donut shops, and he was going to buy them a dozen donuts. Now, here's the thing. That's really cool because he knows if he buys a dozen, he's now getting 13, right? More. He's getting 25 to give to people, which is just a really cool wow in itself. So, out of 5,000 people, how many people do you think took him up on the offer after being invited 5 different times?
Out of 5,000, I'm gonna go high and say 200 people.
Yeah, so here's the thing, what that was interesting. If it was 200 people, do you know what that would cost him? Do you know what a dozen donuts is at a donut shop?
I have no idea.
Yeah, it's like $10, right? At the most. It's not very much. So that would have been $2,000, right? Would that be worth it for
They
200
talked to
people?
200 people? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, right. Not even close. 12 people.
Wow.
12 people. 12 people. Here's the thing. But how many impressions did he get? How many touches did he get? How many relationships did he build of people who were like, "Oh my gosh, that's the coolest thing that you're doing that. I can't make it." But boom, he's in relationship with them, right? And now he's got an opportunity to build that relationship over time. So, National Ice Cream Day is coming in July. National Ice Cream Day. So don't be afraid to go to a Dairy Queen or a Baskin Robbins and say, listen, you come by between 4 and 6 on Saturday, or the best day for this is a Sunday. You get right, Sundays on Sunday. Get it? Yep, I like it. Me too. I like it, especially with sprinkles.
That's it. We're
So
done. That's three. That's three, man. You
yeah,
almost.
yeah, and here's the thing. I will say, if you're interested in all the event mastery stuff I talk about, go to eventmastery.com. And I actually, over the next 7 weeks, we started Tuesday, but you didn't miss anything. You're good. But the next 7, 8 weeks, I will actually hold your hand and help you run an event that will get referrals. Referrals are guaranteed, by the way. If you show up to every class, run an event, follow our system, you're guaranteed to get referrals. And you've never heard that before. There's nobody out there that guarantees referrals for anything you do. But we guarantee referrals. If you'll go through Event Mastery, have an event, and do our system, you will get at least one referral. It's going to happen, right? If you don't, we'll give you all your money back, right? All right. So I think the big thing there is that that's what I would do with Don Dasick. And by the way, Don's a changed man these days, right? So I'm writing about Don right now, and so he got, for those of you that haven't read the book yet, the thing you need to know about Don is Don's last name is Dasick, 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 right? Dasick. And Dasick is actually from Freud. And Freud, Sigmund Freud, the psychologist, psychoanalyst, he was German, and Das Ich means the ego. So Don represents all of us. He represents our ego. We all have an ego. We want to put our logo everywhere. We want to be known everywhere. We do, right? But the thing is we have to manage this battle in our psyche that is selfless versus selfish. And I'm telling you, what if I told you selfless would get you more of what your selfish side wants? And it does. That's the power of the generosity generation. By giving value to others, and being really, really selfless, the entire world will conspire for your success.
Michael, can you talk about that? What is generosity generation?
So there's 3 meanings to the generosity generation. So one is the generosity generation was actually a consumer trend that I identified very early. And the consumer trend was that the ego era was like 1960 to 2006, right? And the ego era was, we're number one. We're number one. J.M. Powers, right? I got this award. We're number one. We're the best. We're it. We're the biggest. We're the baddest, right? And the consumer believed in that for years. Like if it was well, all of a sudden, J.M. Power, you start to buy these awards, right? Which you can buy awards. And, in real estate, you can buy covers, you can buy articles, you can buy awards, you can do anything you want, right? And so what happened is the consumer lost all trust in the awards, in the claims, and all of a sudden it became whitewash. Everybody was number one. Well, if everybody's number one, then how do you choose? You choose based on relationships. You choose based on what your friends say. Well, the generosity generation is that the consumer went away from we're number one. We don't care about number one, but we're going to go to I'm here to help. So the slogan has changed. It used to be we're number one. Now it's we are here to help. You might want to write that down. Put that in your PS of all your emails and just like make that your mantra for the next 30 days. I am here to help. I am here to, and by the way, I am here to help. So guess what? And you know what? You are here to help. And by the way, the more customers you help, the more you get paid. The more people you serve, by definition, the more you're going to get paid. So, we are here to help. So the consumer for 56 years was their mantra was find me, sell me, like hunt me down and then overcome all my objections, come to my door, phone me until you get me, and then sell me, overcome all the objections and that kind of thing. So basically find me, sell me. The consumer changed in the early 2000s to listen. And this is going to ring hopefully so true for all of you. I'm going to get a drink of water here. Sorry, I coached baseball for 4 hours last night. My voice is a little tough. Next time I'll go on mute for that. Sorry, you could probably hear me gulping. So
It's
the
immersive.
consumer, you see how I that was a pregnant pause. You see how I did that dramatic pause before I gave this really impactful, like, I don't, it was purely accidental. I'm not that good, just so you know. Hear me, help me. The consumer of today is hear me, help me. And oh my God, social media is the greatest listening device in humankind. Listening device. It's the worst for your voice. I'm sorry. It's just one of those where now everybody has a voice. The problem is now everybody has a voice and they think that they need to say it and they'll never have any retribution, right? They'll never have any responsibility to what they're saying, which is why, Twitter is getting down on the multiple accounts and the false accounts, right? Is because if you're anonymous, then you can say anything you want without retribution. And I know that Facebook's getting ready to go away from anonymous member posts, right? Why? Because there's no retribution. There's nobody to hunt down and kick their ass. For example.
Right.
Yeah. So
we'll delete this part of the video.
no, that's the truth, right? So it's all good. I'm 100% responsible for anything I say, and I'm good with it, right? So I think the big thing is that it's one of those where hear me. They want you to listen and really ask them. The only way to listen is to ask questions. And that's the power of today's world. It's more important to be a better question asker than it is to be a salesperson. It's better. And here's the power of asking great questions. There's no, you know the scripts. You don't have to change your sales pitch to the person in front of you.
Right.
It's the same question every time, and they have different answers, which allows you to really find out where they're at and what they want. So hear me by asking questions and really listen, become a great listener, and then help me. Hear me, help me. And the consumer is like, okay, help me doesn't necessarily mean we have to be the experts. What it means is they might need help and we're a connector. We're connecting them to someone who can help them. And never has connecting been more important than in the current marketplace and environment. And it's so easy to connect. And yet we still need to work that connection muscle a little bit. And here's the thing. The ABC, you guys remember Glengarry Glen Ross and something, right? The ABC of the ego era was A, always, B, C, closing, right? Always be closing, and coffee is for freaking closers, right? Put the coffee down. Coffee is for closers, right? So here's the thing. The new ABC in the current marketplace and the current environment. The new ABC is A, always, B, C, connecting. Always be connecting. Always be connected. You are a connector, and you need to connect with yourself. You may want to write that down. And if I could wish one thing upon all of you, and I want you to hear this. I know you're writing notes. I want you to hear this. And those of you that are no longer, or that are just, I don't even know if you're there because all I see is your name. But here's what I would wish upon all of you. 7 minutes of silence a day. 7 minutes of complete silence a day. Just 7 minutes. Just turn off your phone, go somewhere nobody else is, and be with yourself for 7 minutes a day. That's it. You can pray if you want. And I would even say, you know what happens in 7 moments or minutes of silence with yourself is if you believe in God, God will appear. God has a chance to talk to you. Otherwise, when's he going to talk to you? Through your phone? Right? No, you got a million voices on there talking to you. Right? He's what is he, right? He is a jealous God, right? So he's not going to try to compete with that. You get some sign. Here's the thing. And the thing is, your voice might be the one you hear. And that's okay too. You might not hear anything. And that's probably what you need at the time too. So if I had one thing I would wish upon all of us in a really busy world with a lot of distractions and a lot of noise is 7 minutes of silence a day. Just get away and just like no headphones, no music. The music is going to be what you hear from the world. And just own that. I'm telling you, some of the greatest ideas I've ever had have been presented to me when I gave them the opportunity to be presented to me. Right?
You know what is crazy to me,
What?
Michael?
Yeah.
Yesterday, I spent a day with Brian Gubernick. He's the chief real estate officer of Place Inc.
I know Brian really well.
And
Yeah.
then Chris Stewart, who's the president of Place. So we had about 20 people were invited to sit in a room with them and had an amazing day. And that was the first, main, and last thing they actually talked about. They called it thinking time. And he was saying that one of his coaches asked him, you know, when is your thinking time? He says, what do you mean? He's like, when do you just stop and think? And he says, I'm only like that. Like when do your best, I guess the question was, when do your best ideas come to you? And Brian said that he initially answered when I'm showering. What about your second best? When I'm driving? What about your third best? When I'm walking and I'm disconnected? So, and he came to the point that he from that he took that every single day he has 45 minutes in his calendar of silent time, of thinking time. No podcast, no radio, no phone calls, no phone, just 45 minutes. And let me tell you something. My wife knows this. I try to take 45 minutes a day to be in the woods or on the lake behind our house.
Yeah.
And it is the best time ever. So it's funny that you say that because, you know, these two people who are presidents of one of the biggest companies growing right now in the US said exactly the same thing, how important thinking time is, because that's when our best ideas come. So when we get best get to know who we are. That's awesome. I appreciate you sharing that.
Well, and 7 minutes, the reason I said 7 is to get you started, right? And here's what 7 minutes a lot of times turns into 30 minutes, right? It just does. You're like, all right, I'll do this for 7 minutes. Well, you're not looking at the clock. You're just sitting there enjoying the moment and being in peace. If you want to cross your legs and you want to go, you know, if you want to meditate in that minute, you know, it's fine. But whatever you do, we need to connect with ourselves. And that really leads me to like the referral mastery system as a whole. You may want to take some notes on this, but I'm gonna just briefly give you like what is it that I do on a daily basis at ReferCo. And we teach the whole person. We don't just coach to, and I'm not selling anything. I'm just going to tell you what the referral mastery system consists of. It consists of self-mastery, relationship mastery, and event mastery. Self-mastery is 1 to none. It's with yourself. We have an acronym. First, love yourself. Fly. To fly, to truly soar in your life, you need to first love yourself. What we've discovered is that it's really hard to love on others when you're struggling to love yourself. Right now, I will tell you that they go hand in hand. The more you love yourself, the more you'll love others. The more you love on others, the more you'll love yourself. You'll find you have value. You find you can help others. And that's a powerful aphrodisiac for your self love. And I will tell you, generosity is the key, right? Is helping others. And then the other part too is that underneath self mastery, it's what's your growth plan? What is your personal growth plan? And under your growth plan is what's your time management look like, right? What is your time? What's your mindset look like as far as, are you reading? Are you listening to podcasts? Referrals podcast is a thought. I'm just throwing it out there. I mean, very shameless plug right there. Referralspodcast.com. Subscribe, please. Rate and review at your earliest convenience. Um, we're at almost 300 episodes. Listen, we're number 48 in the entire nation right now for podcasts
Wow.
in marketing, and no advertising. We don't do no advertising, no sponsors, no. It's just word of mouth. And then, all right, so I'm telling you, here's the thing about self mastery and your growth plan. Nothing is more attractive than growth. Nothing. What do we talk about? We talk about building an attractive business, building an attractive. What is referrals by nature? It's attraction. It's not chasing, right? Quit chasing. No more. You're not going to chase anybody or anything. You're not. No more. You're not going to. Now, are you going to follow up if somebody's interested? Follow up's different than chasing, but you're not going to chase. You're going to start attracting at a major league level. If they're coming toward you, you're going to work with them. If they're running away from you, you're sure in the hell not going to chase them, right? So, but I will tell you, there's nothing more attractive than growth. And look at Eli, right? Eli has me on a Zoom. Like, I don't do this very often, ever, hardly. And here's the thing, is that why? Why did I say yes? He's in growth mode, people. I know I'm not going to be wasting my time. At least with him, I might have wasted my time with you. I don't know. You're going to have to determine that. But the fact of the matter is I know it wasn't going to be a waste of my time because Eli's going to take notes and Eli's going to implement some stuff. Are you going to implement some stuff? Are you in growth mode? When should you be in growth mode? Every damn day.
Yep.
Every day. Growth mode. Doesn't mean perfect day. Nobody here is perfect, right? A couple of you look pretty damn perfect. I'm just telling you. You know who you are. You guys. Isn't it amazing that people have these selfie poses down? They're like, hey, can we take a picture? And I'm like standing there like that. And they're like, they hit blue steel in half a second. They know exactly their chin is like perfect. Their jaw is perfect.
Wait, is my daughter on this Zoom? Because
my son, he's got it all worked out, right? It's like I've discovered I don't have a side. I don't even have an angle. I'm just like the best angle for me is backside. I'm just telling you. So it's one of those where growth is so attractive. So get into growth mode. Like read books, listen to podcasts. Here's the thing. Journal. Are you journaling? What I just said about silence, right? Just pass it on. Tell somebody else about that. Get into, meditation. This stuff is attractive. And you don't have to be psycho meditation. You don't have to do meditation is breathing exercises if you really boil it down, right? So it's like affirmations. Are you doing affirmations? When you're doing affirmations, tell other people about affirmations. Appreciations. Are you writing 5, I appreciate blank because blank every day? What you appreciate appreciates, right? Visualization. Are you visualizing how things are going to go? I visualized this call before I came on here. By the way, you like my PowerPoint? You like my PowerPoint? How do you guys like my PowerPoint? Are we in PowerPoint prison right now? Anybody here in PowerPoint prison? No PowerPoint. This is going to be a conversation. I am so comfortable with who I am and what I'm going to talk about. I don't need a PowerPoint. I don't need to be reminded of what I'm going to say. You know why? Because I'm going to say what you guys need me to say. I'm going to be here for you. So
that was awesome. Awesome. Hey, we're about 5 minutes out.
I'm not done yet.
Well, I just want to make sure if anybody has questions or comments or something you want to discuss with Michael before you guys head out, please ask him in the comments, and we'll bring you up and you can ask away. Go ahead, Michael. Sorry.
Yeah, real quick, I'll just finish the 2 pillars, right? So there's 3 pillars under referral mastery system. It's self-mastery, relationship mastery. It's the one-to-one pillar. One-to-one. How good are you in consultations? How good are you at the listing presentation? How good are you at one-to-one conversations? How good are you on the phone? How good are you in one-to-one scenarios? How good are you at writing handwritten notes? And you might think, well, I write a really good handwritten. How many writing? Right? Is it a habit? Are you doing it on a daily basis? One-to-one. That's relationship mastery. And own that. And by the way, 7L is the guide to relationship mastery, in my opinion, very biased opinion. And then the third pillar is a very important pillar. It is event mastery. Event mastery. It's the one to many pillar of the referral mastery system. And here's the thing is under event mastery, it's what's your yearly appreciation plan to everyone you know? Do you have a yearly appreciation plan for everyone you know? Not just your database, but I'm talking your phone. I'm talking your friends. I'm talking your family. What is your yearly appreciation plan for all of them? And like the easiest, best thing ever for that is have fun events that anybody would want to attend and invite everyone you know. And is everyone going to attend? No. They can't make it. They don't trust you yet. They don't know you very well. They aren't sure. They're not social, whatever it may be. But you know who attends events? People who like you, that are attracted to you, and that, you know what? They trust you and they're social. Well, who are the best referral sources? People who are social. If they're willing to talk, the best people to go to events are people who like events. You know who are the best referral sources? People who like to go to events. So you should have events, and you should have 3 a year at least, in my very researched opinion. That's not a biased opinion, that's a researched opinion. So those are the three pillars: is self-mastery, relationship mastery, and event mastery. And guess what? You need to have something under each of those pillars that you're working on a daily and monthly and quarterly and yearly basis. And for some, career based, right? So, we have people that want to give $1 million to charity, and they're at like $266,000 after, 2 or 3 years. So, it's one of those where we don't just, it's not just like, here's a strategy, get a referral. I have a guy last year who lost 50 pounds, gained 3 kids, and got 815 referrals. And you're like, how did he gain 3 kids? Well, him and his wife had struggled to produce. So through some help of mine and conversations, they decided to foster a child. And they went to foster a child, and it ended up that that child had a little brother. So they took 2 of them on. And then the foster agency asked about a really tough to place teenager, and he took her on, and he has changed her life. Now, this is a really special guy, right? But this 17-year-old was having a lot of problems and didn't trust anyone and was stealing money and everything else. And Scott has changed her life to the point where 18 months later, she is taking on his last name, and she's going to college, and she is amazing. She is amazing, and he has changed her life. And that's what I do when I coach. I'm not here just to like, what strategy did you implement, how to go, and let's keep moving. It's like, hey, listen, let's get healthy. Let's get you lifting weights. Or whatever that looks like, healthy. I mean, and then, let's, what do we need to do in your personal life that would make a huge, impact on the rest of your life? And then, we take it from there. Because what I've discovered is if the house is taken care of, and the health, the wealth, and the happiness, if that's taken care of, everything else is kind of like icing on the cake.
Awesome. Michael, how do people connect with you?
Joingengen.com. So I put the link in my underneath, but join our generosity buy. It's free. We'll let you in. It's and you might get referrals, right? So it's our referral community on Facebook. So it's a Facebook community. You're more than welcome to come in. When you come in, you might be invited to do a call with coach. And I would take advantage of that. It's not a sales pitch. They're going to ask you questions about you, what you can do. And it's going to be like, this is very overview, very non-custom and personalized. Well, that call will be all about you. And It will be about exactly what we need to do to help you. And, at that point, we'll also maybe suggest the Referral Mastery Academy, some different aspects that we have. So,
Awesome. This was fire. Absolutely amazing. I appreciate you, man. Thank you so much. Thank you for your kind words as well. I'm definitely in growth mode, and I think everybody here is too. And I appreciate being connected to you. You're one of the people I admire the most in this industry. So thank you so much for being here today. If anybody has any final comments, questions, this is it. And if not, just email me or something. I'll get them to Michael. Go to joingengen.com. Definitely get a copy of the book. This was so good. Thank you.
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on, Eli. And I appreciate what you're doing for the industry. And I appreciate how much you are in growth mode. It's very attractive. And I think the biggest thing is if you have questions for me, go to Join GenGen and ask them, because there's probably 1,000 people in there that have the exact same question you do. So they're going to end up thanking you for asking that question. So we'd love to have you. I appreciate everything. And, remember, that your job in life is to be referable. Can they count on you? And by the way, the purpose of your business is to be referable. If your business isn't referable, you're doing something wrong, right? So, you know what? You be referable, make a business that's referable, and, let us help you if we can. We're here to help, and we'll see you on the other side. Remember to build your business with love, generosity, and appreciation. Thanks,
Thank you.
everybody.
All right, guys, have a good one.